Hey, we are live in the Glow Club. Hello, everybody who's joining us live or who's watching us on the replay. I am delighted to be chatting to Lauren Robinson tonight. We're going to be chatting all about events, her business, Elevate Your Event, and we're also going to be talking about the Scottish Business Carnival, which is happening next week, and there's only 10 tickets left. So if you're watching this and you like the sound of it, I would click the link in the comment and go and grab your ticket now. Okay, so Lauren, welcome.
Thanks so much for chatting to me on this.
I am
This is very fancy tech for me, Laura. This is very fancy tech that we're chatting on Zoom and it's getting streamed into a Facebook group. So I'm impressed, like from the word go.
well, thank you so much for that because Meta make it hard to use apps through Facebook. It is a bit of a process at the back end to get the
Mhm.
Zoom linked through. So thanks very much for that, Lauren. I really appreciate it. Right, we've got a series of questions that we are going to rattle through, but also I would invite anybody who's watching the live to ask Lauren some questions in the comments, or even if you're watching on the replay, she is a Diamond member with us, so she is in the group and she can come back to comments as well. So let's just go for it. So, Lauren, tell us about you and your journey in business.
Okay, so I started 22 years ago, which makes me feel really, really old. But I started 22 years ago with a dance school. And I did it, ran it for a while and it failed. And then I bought over one actually. And then I always had something else going along with it, like always felt like I had another job. So I never felt like it was my real job. I always felt like people thought I should have another job. But it worked well when my oldest, who's now 16, was little. And it gave me a lot of time with her. And then, of course, as everybody's story goes that you ask this question to and probably will for the next decade, COVID happened. But it
Yep.
wasn't just COVID for me, which obviously is going to massively impact the dance studio. Um, I had my wee boy in March 2021.
Hmm.
And I thought, I don't want to go have other jobs and I don't want to have to be away from him when it doesn't suit me. So I really got my head down, got a brilliant coach, the dance business coach, and really focused on what I was doing and grew it from there. I started to notice as we went to things like dance competitions or teachers' days and we were networking, I noticed there was things that were almost tick boxes at these events that weren't didn't feel enough of an impact. I wouldn't have gone to many things where I thought I definitely want to go back to that. And I started to notice things that we could do a bit better and speaking to other teachers and getting to know them and what they needed. So I created, with the help of, I think it was about 12 of my own customers, so no staff. Like on the day of my first competition, my 12 dance mums were my staff and they were totally behind me. And one of them actually massively helped me financially as well to get off the ground. And there was a small core team who were brilliant and they were so supportive and they were there for the first couple of years of the competitions. And then COVID did impact that, but we came back with a bang. And again, it was all about the impact that we could make at the events. But as they started to get bigger and went from a few hundred people that were coming to thousands of people at a time,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, so we've got something like 6,500 athletes, dancers signed up for this season.
That is
Um,
phenomenal,
so,
Lauren.
yeah, it's great. It's really, really good. But what happened was we realised that there was a moment I could get connection with the coaches who ran the dance schools that were coming. So I decided to place myself strategically backstage before the teams went on to compete. And when I did that, I could get that connection with two of my three customers that attend the events because we've got three levels of customers. So we've got our spectators, we've got our dancers, and we've got our dance teachers.
Mm.
I could get connection in that moment with two levels of them because I could talk to the dancers about going on and I could get a moment with the coaches. And from that, I realised there was lots of gaps in knowledge with dance teachers, but knowledge that I had from my other jobs like community development or working in the NHS, or I did some work with, it was called at the time, I think, autism in sport and no disability to dance or something like that. And we did those programs. And I then started doing more teacher training. So about a third business based on dance teacher training. But with every step of the way, it has been to do with connection and impact rather than sales. So the position that we're in now is that we had £250,000 of revenue generated in our events business with no marketing this season. So all that happened was they got emails with facts, things I would never recommend that anybody does as baseline marketing. Um, we sent out emails saying this is what our dates are going to be next season, and before the schools were back, we had £250,000 of revenue generated is based entirely on connection. So now I help people attend events, so particularly neurodivergent business owners attend events, and I help business owners create events that are going to have a bit of an impact on their community. So that's my story.
Oh my goodness, Lauren, see if I had like a klaxon, like see when you said like 250,000 generated from like an email with dates, I'd have been like da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Because that shows
Connection though.
you the power of connection. Because I think there's lots of ladies in the Glow Club membership and organising events, planning events, selling events, and you can get fatigue. Like you can get fatigue over what's the next that I'm selling. It's almost like sometimes you can feel a bit robotic. Well, this is me speaking from personal experience as well, just because we do so many events. It's like, right, what's next? What's next? But
Yeah.
I absolutely love your take on it. So let's delve into that a wee bit deeper then. Say a client comes to you. Well, who is your typical client when it comes to elevate your event?
So we have two, I would say. So I thought we had three,
Hmm.
and I worked with higher level, high ticket business owners last year, and it's not for me.
Okay.
I can't get in enough to create the event that I want.
Hmm.
So now, now I'm clearer on who it is that I want to help, and who I want to help are particularly neurodivergent or people who relate to that.
Hmm.
Business owners attend events more successfully, meaning I can give them the tools to regulate. I can give them. I've got a workbook that I'm launching at the Big Festoon this week, like Danny Wallace's event down in Bolton.
Hmm.
So we're launching that workbook, so I'll work with them, and that can be anybody, no matter what level of business they're in, that just need a bit of help when they themselves are attending an event, so that they can take better action afterwards. And then everybody else, it's anyone who wants to run an event that is about creating impact. So
Hmm.
it could be that they are a well-being business owner. It could be that don't they want to meet their audience for a coffee.
Hmm.
It could be that they're in it doesn't really matter what niche they're in. It's about business owners who want to create sales from their event, not just their ticket sale. And I see, like you're saying, so many people run events and they do, but the difference between booking a hall and inviting people along and running an event that is going to give you that kind of longevity in your sales, the difference in that is who you have in the room.
Hmm.
So if your marketing's brilliant and you're just selling all your tickets, that's great. But getting that little bit of connection, it's like, where are you then going to place yourself if you've got 100 people in that room that is not going to burn you out? Because then you will have to feel like a robot by the next one, because that's the only way to cope. So the other
Hmm.
thing is doing all the work yourself just doesn't work for me, because I'm not the details guy. So if things were to rely on me, they would not get done. So I don't do things. I don't even have, well, I do actually, to be fair, with the event email, I do answer some of those emails. So that's split between me and the tech VA, but it's still really small at the moment. Um, no way would I be allowed properly in the dance studio emails or in the events emails. My team would be like, get out, just cause your chaos somewhere else. Like, I would not be
You're
allowed that.
barred. You're barred from helping with this. But then that's playing to your strengths, and we all know that like that's really good for your own growth in business, isn't it? Is to play to your strengths. Okay, so let's think that a client is coming to you who is an event creator then. And you've said what you've just said, have you thought about the long game and what would be like your kind of top tips for somebody that was going to create any type of event so that they actually have leads, as you've said, at the end of it, as opposed to just ticket sales and bums on seats.
Yeah, I think the way to think of it is if you have if you focus on the sales goal
Hmm.
and say that from your event you think, well, I want to generate 25,000. I'm going to use easy numbers, right? I know that we're not going to have these particular numbers or goals or totals, but I'm going to use easy ones for my brain right now. We want to generate £25,000 worth of revenue off the back of an event because we're going to sell a £5,000 product, for example. If you have 100 people in the room and the way that you deliver your event is only going to really hit home with 10%, the likelihood is you can probably make those 5 sales. But what happens then is that money dips, that money runs out, and those sales don't pick up again because you've not hit the other 90% of people in the room who are going to turn around and say, well, it wasn't for me right now because of X, Y, and Z, but actually the way they framed that was really good. So I didn't buy, but I would recommend.
Hmm.
Or you haven't maybe hit the audience where it wouldn't actually be like selling with integrity to sell to them in that moment, but not selling also sells. So I think the best way to run an event is to know the people who are in the room. But I don't mean personally, although that does help if you're running a coffee meet up or an event with under 50 people. I think what really, really helps is to know who you want in the room. So when I was talking about having 3 different customers, this is the same in any event, like any business that you run. So I have at my dance competitions, my spectators, my dance teachers, and my dancers. Each one has an individual customer journey, and each one plays a different role in the event at the time
Hmm.
and also post event. So I would want to make sure that I had thought through each one of those customer journeys, that I had made sure that they got what they needed from the event, even if that, so the dance teacher, they're only going to be the person that brings people. They might then go and recommend you and talk about you to other people, but they're going to be more of a referral. So we're going to look at them as more of a kind of referral client. There's not really anything extra on the day that they can buy.
Hmm.
Whereas dancers, they're going to generate more revenue by wanting to do more dances when they're there, but they're also going to generate it with our merchandise.
Hmm.
Parents, they're going to generate it with the merchandise, but they're also going to generate it by saying, you really should come and watch her dance. Next time we're going to bring Granny. So we've got 3 different levels of customers and creating 3 different customer journeys and making sure that the event is inclusive of all those customers.
Hmm.
That's what makes the difference in your sales long term. So to put it to say someone was running a wellbeing business, for example, and they have their yoga classes or their breathwork classes or whatever they physically started, whatever the passion was that they started with, and that's what started the business. They might also at their event have other breathwork leaders, and they might have somebody else there who's coaching those people that own those wellbeing businesses.
Hmm.
So then that's 3 different customers potentially could be in their event. So they need to create a customer pathway, a customer journey for all 3 levels. Because if you can visualize how that person feels from the moment they walk in and walking through everything that happens in your event that day, that's your customer journey. And if you do that for the type of people that are in the room, you're then going to end up with not just the people who buy being one result, you're going to end up with the people who refer, and then you're going to end up with the people who save up to work with you next time. They're going to prioritize working with you. So it creates longevity in what you're doing.
I love that. And would you recommend, even if it was a smaller scale event, say for example, a networking event, where it's not like multiple speakers, it's like, a speed networking event or something like that, would you recommend still mapping out a customer journey towards another sale or even for smaller events? Does that still
Yeah,
sound?
yeah. So even with like the event that I've come along to with you guys, when we were there was a purpose in what we were doing, but you had 3 different lots of people sitting, at least 3, but I mean, like 3 is the easiest pathways to
Hmm.
create. The brand new person who's never been there before, which was me. There's probably others, but I knew it was me. And then the specialists who come in and speak to people or deliver services.
Hmm.
So we had like a couple of different things going on that day. And then your bread and butter clients. So each one of the 3 of them is a different journey when they come in. So the fact that, for example, you took the time to speak to me when I came in to get that connection because I'd never sat there before, I'd never been there before, I didn't know anybody else. And things like saying to me, "Oh, come for lunch with us," these little things, that is creating a customer journey for me that would make me want to go back to those events.
Ah,
When you have like guest speakers that come in, if you are allowing them, so at the time the guest speaker also sat and had lunch, so then it's more likely that if I needed that specific help, I'm going to go to them. And
hmm.
you're really holding them up like we're doing right now to be like, this is the services that's available to you, which then gives your bread and butter clients a better result in what they're doing and much more reason to come. So it doesn't matter whether you've got 10 people at Starbucks or 1,000 people in an arena. It's the same thing to create that kind of longevity in your sales.
Ah, I'm loving this. Like I feel like I've been running events for like 7 years and I've just never looked at it the way that you've positioned it there. I love it.
I think people get tied up in the logistics. And
Yes.
so off the back of the Scottish Business Carnival, where hopefully it's all different things from marketing to visibility to sales to AI to you're talking about like building this community, and it can be anything from presentations to a bit of empowerment work to self-development work to a kind of more panel discussion that we're going to have. There's a bit of everything.
Yeah.
So I suppose for this event, there's a little bit of throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what gets the best reaction. But it's also about covering the bases to find out what people really know. So I think when you step back and you say, like, what do I want from this event? Well, for me, it matters to me that there's not over 75 people in the room. It matters to me because I can really find out. We put on all these different sessions and we did all these different things. And I can go back and say to people, what did you think of that? How did that feel for you as a whatever business owner? Um, how did that feel for you? Did that work? Did that resonate? Did some of the mindset stuff maybe come across to people who would not normally be into that as like, oh, okay, that maybe I wouldn't have listened to that previously. So I think it's like lifting yourself out and looking down on it and
Yeah.
thinking, what do I need to do rather than being in it and worrying about the logistics. So I would never be the person that booked the hall. I would never be the person that organised the invoices. I would never be the person that did all these things because I couldn't like pull myself away and get perspective.
You couldn't be visionary
Mhm.
if you're, yes, okay, and have that kind of bird's eye view of it. And we were talking, Lauren, before we went live, and I was asking you how everything's going with the tickets. You've hardly got any left. I think you've got a maximum of 10 left. But you were saying to me that you've basically sold the Scottish Business Carnival the tickets just by chatting to folk.
Yeah, predominantly in the DMs. And that is, I would say, maybe about a third of the tickets have been bought by people seeing. I mean, I've only done one boosted post. I think that's it.
Oh, I love that because,
But
like,
it's not what I'm not comfortable. I'm not saying that I'll never use these things. I'm not saying that. I'm actually launching a course to support people in January, and I will be doing that off the back of the Scottish Business Carnival and the feedback that we get. And what I want for that is high volume, low ticket, because that's what I'm used to selling
hmm.
is high volume, low ticket. And well, this is I'm saying low ticket, but it's maybe not low ticket for everybody, but for my ideal client. And And I think for that, I would like to bring somebody on to deal with proper marketing, advertising, Facebook ads, all these different things, because I can't actually put in what I want to the course without bringing in generating more revenue. I
Yeah.
don't want it just to be my voice. I want other people. I've already been trying to pin down Nikki Hutchison to deliver a wee bonus session for me and things like that. And you
Oh, I
can't
love
do
Nikki.
that. Yeah, I'm speaking at her event launch like a pro as well, and I'm so excited for that. But I
Oh,
think there's so many things that you can do that are not those big things, that are not relying on automations and systems and all that kind of stuff. And that's not where my strength is. My strength is getting to know somebody and saying, well, this is for you or this isn't. And right now, and I'm in a lucky position where I'm not I'm not relying on this one event to feed my family or put
Hmm.
these on the car. Like that's not what I'm doing. So the other businesses have given me the opportunity to test this and see what works and see if connection works in all the other ways that it does in the dance industry and the performing industry. And it is working the same. It worked the same when I was doing some ADHD coaching as well. It's finding out, looking for people. So I will go through groups that I'm in and not spam message, but individually look at people's profiles
Hmm.
and see. So that I think I might have maybe about 20 people in this membership where I've gone through and I've looked at their profile and I thought, would this benefit them or wouldn't it? And then I've reached out if it would, rather than spam messaging. But I've also
Yeah.
reached out with a specific thing. So it's like I think this would benefit you because I can see you're doing this and that's, and getting that connection, I honestly think is time consuming.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, how long roughly do you think you've set aside to do things like DMing and researching people?
I would do that for an hour every single day. And I think if you are serious about running a business, your lead gen and follow up needs to be for an hour every day, like
Yeah.
5 days a week. And well, to be fair, I probably do it on a Sunday as well. I don't actually do it on a Saturday. I might sometimes at night, like if Andrew's sleeping, which that might happen on
That may
Saturday.
or may not be the case.
Yeah. So I might spend time doing it then, but I religiously sell something every day.
Yeah.
Um, Even if it's a recommendation, even if it's just following up with someone who I was just recommending they use someone else. Because
Hmm.
I honestly think that not selling also sells. I
Yes.
think when you do that, it sells as well because then you're genuine in what you're doing. And I do not want a room full of 200 people that I just happened to get on Facebook ads. I don't know what they're expecting. I don't know what they want. And also it creates an atmosphere where you're setting yourself separately from everybody, which I don't think is a good idea to do at your first few events, because I think you need to build community at your first few events. And if you set yourself apart from them and the only point of contact they can have with you is maybe a complaint, like you're not putting in that positive point of contact first so that they're more likely to be able to say to you when something's bothering them before it gets to the point of a complaint. So, like all our dance teachers at the competitions, they know what I am, and they'll come round and they'll say, "Oh, I'm just panicking because this person's in the wrong," or or whatever it is, and then I am like, "Right, we'll sort it." Now I don't go and sort it. I sort whoever's in charge of that thing to sort it. But they don't have to complain. They can also come round and they can just say, "I just wanted to come see how you were doing," and I get so much of that because they'll come and check in on me. Like, am I stressed? Am I worried? Because they know that I'm as invested in them as they are in the competition. And I think you can create that in your first few events before you then scale up.
Okay, so at the Scottish Business Carnival then, with roughly around about 75 people there, how will you as the founder of the event, the creator of the event, have the impact that you're looking to have? Is it speaking to everybody? Like, would you go around and speak to everybody? Like, how would you go about that?
So I kind of think, when at weddings,
Hmm.
where the bride and groom feel like they have to go around, or the bride and bride. Actually, the last wedding I was at, the girls, they didn't do that together. They sort of did it separately. Like they
Okay.
tag teamed the room. Like,
Yeah.
let's make sure everybody's been spoken to, and we'll do it separately, and we'll go around and we'll check. But I think that when you when you do that, it works because people feel that they've got that moment. There's always someone that's going to have a complaint, isn't there? There's just always,
Hey.
and you just kind of need to let that go. But I think I am going to basically treat it like a party, like a wedding reception. So I'll do my thing when I'm standing on the stage, and I've got someone else who's going to host it with me as well, so that I'm not always doing something.
Yep.
Because I think the less you can give yourself to do, the easier that is. And that might mean moving around to make sure the speakers are okay, because these are big names that have travelled as well. And I want them to feel like they were valued, and that I've asked them to come and they're speaking because I've selected them. No
Yep.
one is just speaking for the sake of speaking. Everybody was individually, personally asked. Like, no
Oh,
one applied, it wasn't put out. Everybody was like, either they've had a big impact on my business or me, or I've seen what they're doing. And like, that is something that I think we should be shouting about, or this person's got skills I think we should be sharing. And so I want them to feel valued too, and I want them to feel like they're getting something from the day. So if I can do that with their kind of VIP tables over lunchtime and I can get that connection,
mhm.
because I've got Shan doing a lot of the hosting, I can move around the tables and I can speak to people, and we've got a couple of tasks and I could go to a table and do it with them. But I've also asked the tech guys for head mics rather than microphone, so that I don't have to stand still, because one of the worst things about speaking events are the stillness, and it
Mhm.
makes me uncomfortable. Like, I can't do that. Like, I
Okay.
can't just stand there and do it, and um, I want to get in amongst people and talk to them and say, like, "What do you think of that?" And one of the no, I'm not actually gonna wait. I'll wait till after to see if it works. But we've got a task that's just hopefully just going to create a bit of hilarity at the tables. And I don't want to be standing on stage watching what's happening. I want to wander around and get connection, because that will give me conversation openers.
Yep.
So if they're particularly laughing at something that we're doing, or I'm seeing that they're getting a good reaction from it, I'll remember that,
Mhm.
and then I'll say that later. And it's because it is something that has got a genuine connection to them. So
Oh.
I've gone completely off on a tangent now, Laura, but
No, but
that
I'm like literally, I'm not even looking at the questions anymore. I'm just like, I need to know everything this woman knows.
I think it's just people. It's like actually listening to people. And you know, I watched I love to watch like snippets of podcasts, but
Mhm.
I'm not very good at listening to long, like 6 hour long podcasts. You've no
Yep.
chance of holding my attention for that. But I love the short reels that you get on Facebook and things. And somebody on a podcast said that neurodivergent people are genuinely interested in what you're saying. And that's why sometimes the conversation can feel a bit deep, or feel maybe like that you're kind of looking into their soul.
Mhm.
And I think she had also said why it can sometimes feel a bit flirty as well. But it's because we aren't going to ask anything that we don't actually want to know the answer to. So, like, there's no way that I'm going to just have small talk with somebody. Like, I don't want that. Like, no. So if I say to you, "Oh, how far did you travel?" I genuinely want to know. Like, how long did it take you to get here? Because
Yep.
I would literally rather say nothing than talk crap. Like, so I'm not very good with small talk. I'm not very good with all that stuff. And that's one of the reasons why when I've created this guide, this workbook, I've actually given people conversation openers, because I think that when you're in that situation and you're at a table and you don't know anyone, your brain can just kind of freeze.
Yeah.
I've given them a page in the workbook. So everybody sitting at the Scottish Business Carnival will have this guide, and it's got everything from how to regulate yourself pre-event, which won't be helpful on the day, right? But how to regulate yourself in the event as well, to
Yep.
also like speaker notes, so
Yep.
they'll have like their thing they can fill in, and they'll be able to do like a wee check-in with themselves throughout the day. And also I've told them how to follow up from it, how to decide what action to take and what actions not to bother taking, and how to then follow up with that, and how to sell in conversations as well, because that's how you get your actual clients. That's how you get the people you're going to be invested in. And
Oh, I can feel another tangent coming on. Give us a tip for selling in conversations. Give us just one tip, and
okay.
the rest is in the guide for those that are going.
Right. So my top tip, I think, for selling in conversations would be to not mention anything to do with what you're selling. My top tip would be to actually just find out a little bit about that person. Like,
Mm,
do you have any kids? Do you have a dog? Do you have, because how you sell is by actually knowing the person, like getting the conversation out of them. The worst thing you could possibly do, like taking it back to that 100 people in the room when I said only wants to sell 5%, is to just have a sales total. So if you just have a sales total rather than the impact you want to create, it's always going to be the same cycle repeated. You're going to have to work as hard to fill that 10th, 11th, 12th event than you did in the first five,
Mm,
because you've got a sales total in mind or a sales goal in mind instead of, well, actually, what I've got in mind with this, with what I'm doing, with the course that I'm trying to create at the moment, is that neurodivergent people in particular can put together an event and can attend events. So if 10 people turn around to me and say, well, I only spent this amount, like, £59 coming to the Scottish Business Carnival, but actually now I know how to attend events. That's great. That for me is the impact I
impact.
want,
Yep.
because they're going to go and they're going to talk about that, and somebody who might be able to invest in the course, or maybe later on if I pick up the one-to-one again, which I'm just not sure about, um, if they're talking about that, that's maybe where the other customers come. It's like a natural progression. So if you just focus on the impact you want to make, and if you do that by just getting to know people just a little bit personally, and also you can very quickly rule people out that way. So
Mm-hmm.
if I start a conversation with somebody and their conversation is a bit like, "What do you think of today?" I'll be like, "You're not my guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I would want that customer. So
Yes,
no point in me getting to know you anymore."
I hear you. I hear you. Right. Okay. So I'm loving this. Selling an event based on impact as opposed to like, what's your impact goal rather than your sales goal. So what is your impact goal with the Scottish Business Carnival?
What that it is community. What I'm struggling with is events that feel diverse enough, that they're a fair
Mhm.
representation or inclusive enough. Or somebody said at an event I was at called Reclaimed Means Business down south, and somebody said that they didn't want to create a safe space or a safe inclusive space. They wanted to create a space where people felt safe to be brave. And
Mm,
that's what I want. I want people to be able to walk in to the room, no matter who they are, and know that they're welcome, and
nice.
not feel different, or not feel, and not in a trauma dumpy, let's all get it, not in that kind of way, but just in a, like, it's okay to ask questions kind of way. So one of the things I've really struggled with this event is getting racial diversity that I feel like actually represents Glasgow or Scotland.
Hmm.
And I think until you actually do it a little bit, it's probably really quite difficult. I haven't struggled so much with getting neurodiversity in, because that's something I've been talking about for a long time.
Yeah.
So, where I'm not the person to be teaching people on inclusion. I'm absolutely not. I want to learn more, and I want to know what we can all learn from each other. So I want to pull as many different types of people into the room, because I genuinely think that that will raise the level of the businesses that we have. And I
Absolutely.
think one of the things is we're constantly told things like, "How's your wee business?" or, all these things. And I posted it actually in.
I seen your post. It was good.
Yeah, and it got more response than I thought, in a lot of DMs of people saying like, "Oh, my family are like that all the time, but I can't post that 'cause my sister-in-law's in this group," or whatever, like those kind
Yep.
of things. And I'm like, "I've had that my whole life. I've had that my whole life, but it's not okay." Eh,
Hmm.
we do have jobs. Well, it
Yeah.
certainly seems like we do. Like, we do have jobs. So, yeah, I'd like to create an impact in that there's a space where people can come and say, "This is the challenges I have in my business," no matter what their gender or race or anything
Yeah.
is. And they just feel like they're able to access whatever they need to take away from the event.
Love it. And the peer support that you get from community is often where the magic happens. It's you facilitate and create, and it's what you've put together is fabulous. But what you might not see is where the magic will happen will be where the clients and the guests are around the tables supporting each other, maybe potentially collaborating with each other. And I think that's the beauty of community, isn't it? Is what happens when you're not there.
Yes, and that is it. And that is starting to happen to me a lot in the dance industry. I'm
Mhm.
not in the room or I'm not on the page and I'm getting recommendations um and things happen. So actually off the back of one of your events, Susan Carruthers and I are creating a documentary on all-star cheerleading in the UK. So like all
Oh,
of these
love
little
that.
things, like they just happen and my number one thing, which is hard in the industry I'm in, um, is collaboration over competition. I just think when you're so worried and have that kind of scarcity mindset and you're worried about what somebody else thinks of you or somebody else might take that client or whatever, like that's okay. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it really is okay.
And do you know what I've noticed? It's so lovely as well when we're talking about support and collaboration over competition is yourself and Susan Carruthers and Leslie Canis as well, who's doing the Scottish Wellbeing Summit. I've seen you all chatting online and your events are all quite close together, but
Yeah.
it seems like you're all smashing it for how you're wanting your events to be, and it just shows you that regardless, there's space for everyone. So you might as well be of more a collaborative mindset because you'll enjoy the journey more, you'll get way more out it, but there's no point in thinking, oh, that person's event's a couple of days or the day before or whatnot, and then seeing each other's competition. I just love that you and Susan in particular, you mentioned you're doing that documentary, are doing the collaboration thing because everyone can win.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything just everything that you just said there is exactly how I feel. I think that we have to look about for who can support us. And the more people that are doing the same thing, and this is the same for like pricing as well, the more people that are charging the same price for a service, the more we're all going to be on the same level and clients will genuinely be able to choose the person that they relate to the most. And so what's happened was Susan being kind of like on the periphery of my team for the events company now. So she'll come in and do some recording for things and like with the dance studio as well. She knows that I'm chaotic and she knows that I move from one thing to another. And she knows that if she wants an answer to something, the chances of me sending her the address of where to go, I mean, there's zilch chance of that. She knows to ask the team for these things, so she sees all that. But she also saw my kind of mindset wobble on this event as well because I was like, I just don't know. Like, I don't really know what if I want to sell it like this. I don't really know. And it's because it's new. And it's
Mhm.
because although I've done lots of strategy days before and I've done one-to-one sessions, I've done online things before, I've never called it an event. I've
Mhm.
never I've never really called it that before. So it is the first time doing it, but she'd obviously gone away and worried about things that I'd said about, this isn't selling, and I'm worrying about some other stuff that was going on in the background. So the other day she sent me ideas. She was like, why don't you market like this? And then why don't I post about this? And why don't I, and it's just getting that going because that really is how we grow, is like working
Yeah.
together. And off the back of that, I did a boosted post because I was like, right, Susan, you made me feel guilty about my lack of marketing. I'm going to do a boosted post. Do you know, I don't think that boosted post got me any sales, but it maybe it maybe got one or two.
But
But
then you never know all the DM, the direct marketing you did, and then someone's seen a boosted post. Like
yeah.
this is I don't mean problem with marketing, but sometimes you actually cannot tell what part of what you've done has been the clincher, but it's probably a collective of everything that you've done.
Yes, and I like working with Nikki Hutchison, because she is very strategic in everything that she does, and she will ask questions like, well, what are the metrics of that? And I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, I never thought to check that, So she's very like that, and that side of it, it helps me because that she's quite good at keeping me on track as well. She's also had my mindset wobbles too. So, like nobody goes into these things thinking that they're the bee's knees. Like
No,
everybody has
absolutely
days.
not. And see when you are running like you've got higher tickets and maybe get a kind of smaller scale number, I think a mindset wobble is really, really natural. But what I love about, the few of the names that we've mentioned there, like Scotland is definitely, definitely up in its game with all the events that all the ladies we've mentioned are bringing to it. Because I know that you are quite a frequent flyer to London. Would that be right to say
Constantly,
constantly?
constantly. Hmm.
So going to a lot of events there, but have you noticed the difference in the Scottish offering up here?
Yeah, and I think the more there is something else happening the week of my event that and Susan's event that I would never go to in a million years.
Okay.
Um, and I have a business that's on track to be a seven-figure business, and I would not dream of going to this event. So I think what's happening in Scotland is more and more people are realizing they are actually business owners,
Okay.
and because of communities like this, or because of programs like Nikki's, like her running like the charge, and I think people are realizing, oh, actually, I am actually a credible business owner. And what always happens is that these things do seem to start in the States or down south and then filter up, because we're
Yeah.
terrible in Scotland for playing ourselves down. Like, we're really, really bad
Oh,
for it.
absolutely. And I remember speaking to Nikki about this years ago before they lo they launched Adventures in Marketing, and that was like a bugbear of hers was, lots of stuff going on down south and everything. Why is it not up here? So it definitely, definitely seems with all the kind of big events that are coming round. I love what you're saying that it's maybe down to a collective mindset shift in Scottish business owners or business owners that are based in Scotland. So yeah, very good, very good. And you're now part of the fantastic menu with the Scottish Business Carnival. Right,
Mm,
okay. We have like massively gone off
oh,
piece.
probably. Sorry.
I'm gonna no, it's both of us. I'm loving this chat. I'm gonna rattle through some questions now just to find out a wee bit more and to get some more of that expert knowledge from you, Lauren, if that's okay. Okay, so what would you say has been the toughest lesson you've learned since being in your business journey?
That um, you cannot out earn a money management problem. And I posted it the other day. You
Interesting.
cannot, if you can't manage your finances, get someone on board who can. It doesn't matter if people see your finances in your business, you do not have to hold that quietly. That you cannot out earn a money management problem or a spending problem.
Oh, right, okay, brilliant. Great, 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 great tip. Um, how do you, so we've talked a wee bit about mindset and maybe it's who you go to, but how do you handle setbacks or days when self-doubt creeps in?
I just stop. I stop. So I would have been too scared to stop before, because I thought being busy was better. And I know that I know that there's some dance business owners in the Glasgow Girls Club as well. And there's an incredible dance business coach out there called Louise Bruff, and she has really spent a long time drilling this into her community, and I feel like it's only started to sink in with me in the last year.
Mm.
When some stuff happened in my personal life, when stuff happened financially, and um, I was ripped off by someone, and it
Oh,
was like
I'm
there
sorry.
was a lot to it, and it had a massive
Yeah,
impact on my mindset.
Linda.
Um, so now when I'm having days like that, I just stop and take myself away, because I'm in the position where my businesses don't stop if I stop. So I
Yes.
walk away from it and get some perspective.
And where do you go to get perspective?
Well, I went on a mountainside roller coaster in Midlothian with my friend. So that's Donna Martin, who's speaking at the Scottish Business Carnival. And if you're ever having a day where you're feeling a bit like, oh, I just don't know if this is if life's for me anymore, I think I'm giving up, you want to spend an afternoon with Donna, because yeah, she'll do something crazy.
Oh,
And we did.
yeah. I'm looking forward to meeting her because she commented under one of the things in the GGC. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that. Okay. Right. Okay. And I'm going to ask you off air about this Midlothian roller coaster because I've never heard about it, but it sounds good. Okay. Has there ever been a moment when you've thought about throwing in the towel and maybe that would allude to what you'd said about being ripped off by someone?
Yeah, but honestly, the times that this used to happen to me much, much more was when I didn't remove myself from
Mm,
the business. So if I'm the one opening all the emails, if I'm getting the complaints that wee Susie's tap shoes or blah blah blah, or wee Molly's this, or wee, in the dance studio, that's really overwhelming. And so you can't actually step back and get perspective when you're in the weeds like that.
yeah.
So it happens less often, but I would say probably every couple of months, I'm like, wouldn't it just be easier to work in the NHS? Wouldn't it just be easier to go back to that job? But
Mm.
actually, long term, no, it wouldn't.
Yes, I know. I think every entrepreneur has that questioning moment. For me, it's developing photos in Tesco. That was the one job for me that I just absolutely loved. And it was just like no stress. And it was just getting to see everyone's photos before they did. So, but yes, you do think to yourself, it's
I
having a
love the
box.
nosy level of that.
Oh my goodness. Like
Love
you will
that.
not believe the things I've seen in my local
Imagine.
town. Anyway, okay, what's been your proudest pinch me moment so far?
So I would say that it changed yesterday. And when we were talking about what we might talk about, I was like, this I had this moment yesterday, but I'll tell you what it was before that. So when you're growing events and big numbers and people and big numbers and money come across your screen all the time, you don't really think what that looks like. But to step out, going from having a few hundred people to having like 1,500, and then when we jumped to like 5,000 people over the weekend, I was like, "This is like, whoa." So I remember just stepping back at one of our busiest sessions. We only have a couple of thousand people at a time, but in our biggest event, there's only ever kind of 1,500, I think. Jill Morgan, my event manager, would probably tell me I'm talking rubbish, but it's not a huge number, comparatively. We do it in sessions. So I walked out at the busiest session and just stepped back for, I mean, it was a good few minutes, and I watched the crowd, like, going crazy, all the supporters of the kids, the production that we had, the fact that this was just all running and it wouldn't matter whether I was there or not, but also just how happy they were,
Oh,
and I
I
was
love
like, "I
that.
cannot believe that we've achieved this."
Yeah.
Like, I just can't believe that I feel like I'm tricking somebody. Like, this, they're gonna find out that I'm a fraud. Like, I
Um,
just could not believe that we've achieved it. But I had a moment yesterday when Nikki released all the speakers for Launch Like a Pro, and I was like, sorry, I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind. I
no.
actually, WTF, who do I think I am? Like, I am not getting on the stage with those people." And then she was like, "Oh, shut up." And I thought, like, "Okay, well, I just need to do this." It's a
Um,
terrifying lineup to be
I,
in, but I am excited.
I need to see the lineup. I can't make that event and I'm so gutted, but I'm going to go and look at the lineup. But Lauren, I have absolutely no doubt you are exactly where you're meant to be. So,
I hope so. But that was my moment yesterday when I saw the graphic and she had everybody's individual photos rather than just names. I was like, "Oh, oh, that's scary." But good
yeah.
scary.
Oh, you're in the right crowd. I love it. Okay, so what is one decision that you've made in your business journey that changed everything?
I think it was a decision to let go of the control,
Mm,
and everybody else is better at doing stuff than me. So, and also I don't enjoy it. Like, I
mm.
don't enjoy going in and putting money aside for that every day. I don't wanna do that.
I don't
Recently
think
started
anybody
one of my
enjoys
team,
that.
but recently I've started one of my team doing that, and I thought maybe for once I'll be on top of this stuff. So,
Nice.
it's in the dance studio as well. Like, it's I mean, there's a lot of women in this club. There's a lot of mums in the Glasgow Girls Club, and I think that when you do have your child go to something, a kids activity like dancing, you can think, "I paid all this money, I don't really know what it's for," and it can feel very stressful, and you're kinda guilt-ridden because you're busy and you're trying to do all this stuff for them to perform, and there can be a kinda lot of negativity around that, and what they don't see is the intricacies of putting on a dance show for hundreds of dancers is insane.
I can only
The
imagine.
level of work that goes behind it is insane.
Yep.
So I think that when I step back to let my studio manager do that, who is now basically runs the whole dance school, when I stood back to let her do that and delegate that, everything got better.
Nice.
So for me, it's just the giving other people the room to grow, and building a team has been like really exciting, like really, really good.
Yeah, and I think lots of people that go into business, start businesses, we've all got a wee kind of, it's not that we're control freaks, but if you're used to running your business a certain way, then you kind of get in the mindset, you're like, okay, I should maybe just do it, or it'll just be quicker if I do it, but actually, there is magic in having a team and then look at your growth and look at your business growth, and you've got like 5,000 spectators. I mean, that is absolutely wild. Can you imagine you were doing that on your own? You would be like,
No, you couldn't. But also, I couldn't run the dance studio with the 200 odd students. We have been all sizes as a dance studio, all sizes. I've had a studio in Devon. I've had like one like in Corinne. Like I've had all sizes of studio.
yeah.
But now we have our main studio and two little Saturday morning satellite schools, and we can run it so well as a team because the team do it. And then I can do things like I can do things for them where I'll maybe like send them a bit of a birthday bonus, or like just little
Mhm.
things where I'm like, that really
Makes a
creates more of
difference.
an impact for me. And things I've been looking at is what's my long term goals with stepping back from the business, and something I really would like to be able to do. Not that any of my team are like pregnant or need or urgent dental help, but like I would like to be able to provide them with secure jobs that are just not seen as standard in my industry. I would
Yep.
like them to be able to have maternity pay. I'd like them to be able to have like dental insurance. You know, I'd
Mhm.
like them to know that they've got security in their job. And one of my teachers said to me, I would like to take on more hours with you, but I couldn't give up my council job because that's like my security.
Yep.
And for me, I'm like, I can provide that. I know we can provide that. I'm not saying we can provide that for everybody right now, but I know it's coming. So it's like setting that goal is
Yep.
definitely amazing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, and then if you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice when you first started out, what would it be?
I think, well, actually, might be very similar to what I just said, but I think it probably is to be more open from the start. I think
Okay.
it's to be more open, and I think what happens when you are, um, this is maybe a wee bit deep in trauma dumping, but there we go. I think when you are neurodivergent and you're constantly told that your understanding the situation is wrong, or that you're not meeting the standards of what people expect, then
Yep.
you hide things. And I
Mm-hmm.
that I would say to just be open. Like, just be open, and done is better than perfect. So, like, if you're just like getting things done, it doesn't need to be perfect, and you're being genuine about what you're doing. I think just being more open about things definitely.
Yeah, I love that because everybody's different. Everybody operates differently. Everyone's got different strengths. And I think a journey of self-awareness begins the minute you start a business, doesn't it? Because you very quickly start to learn what your strengths and weaknesses are, what you need to upskill in, how you deal with people, how you deal with stress, how you deal with working 24/7.
Yeah.
It's a real, real journey, and I love that. Just be open and learn about yourself because yeah, you want to start when you're thinking about your team hiring people that are completely different to you, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. People who are better with the details, people who are better with tech, people who are more willing to put themselves on socials, like all these different things. And I just think being more open from the start would
Yeah.
have helped. Um, it wouldn't have made maybe a couple of years of transitioning from half-heartedly doing things to properly doing things as a business. It would have made that a lot easier, a lot smoother.
Oh, I've absolutely loved chatting to you, Lauren. I feel like I've genuinely learned so much from you as well, and your journey in business is really inspirational. Like what you're doing is incredible. You're doing massive, massive things, and I know the Scottish Business Carnival is going to be amazing. So I have posted a link to it. So just about 10 tickets left for anybody who's watching and fancies coming along. And I've also popped a link to your business website as well. Um, Elevate your event. So the two links are in there, although Elevate Your Event slash Carnival, that's the Carnival page, isn't it? So I would urge anybody watching this to go and check out, find out more about Lauren. And if you are coming along to the event, then have a chat with you because, yeah, I think there's going to be a big impact at this event. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm absolutely honoured to be asked to speak as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much for having me on and for saying all those things that I will take on with like I'm a bit when people say something
Oh,
like that, it's not very good at it, but I really appreciate having this chat and I'm excited that you're coming on because I think that you're having more of an impact than you think as well. And when I first asked you, you were like, I
yeah.
don't know. And I'm like, no, this is absolutely where you should be. This is what you should be
You're
saying.
saying this to the right person.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh no, honestly, I'm so grateful. So thank you so much, Lauren. I'm going to end the live now for anybody who's been watching live, or if you're watching the replay, please comment, replay, ask any questions, and we'll be seeing you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you.
See you soon.